introductory prayer for Kol Nidre by my teacher, Rabbi Marshall T. Meyer. As we listen to the melancholic and shattering melody of Kol Nidre, O God, help us to measure our words and to find the courage and strength to be faithful to our resolve. Grant us the strength to bridge a bit more of the gulf that separates our goals from our achievements during the coming year. On this Day of Atonement, help us to look into the most profound depths of our being so as to better comprehend the truths of our existence and to be capable of more improvement. Our God and God of our ancestors, as evening casts its shadows over the earth, ushering in the most solemn and sublime day of the year, we meet with our fellow Jews throughout the entire world in prayer and meditation. Let us cast aside from our minds and souls all petty thoughts and vain desires. What is our life, and to what avail our strength? What is our wealth, and to what purpose our power? We lift up our souls, O God, and yearn for your light and inspiration. On this evening of Kol Nidre, sanctified by the memories of countless generations of the past, we find ourselves in your presence, O God, stripped of all pretension and naked in all our weakness. You know well how frail and fragile we really are. God, strengthen us to overcome our weaknesses. Help us to find the strength to encounter you in our lives and to courageously confront the truth of our being. Help us to open our hearts and souls so that we may not only hear our own cries, but also the call and the weeping of the enslaved, the oppressed, the hungry, the desperate, the suffering, and the forgotten. In this spirit, we rise for Kol Nidre. I invite you to turn to page 204. בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים.
By the authority of the court on high and by the authority of this court below, With divine consent and with the consent of this congregation, we grant permission to pray with those who have transgressed.
בישיבה של מעלה ובישיבה של מטה, על דעת המקום ועל דעת הקהל, אנו מתירים להתפלל עם העבריינים.
שבועתנה לשבועות. שביתין ותלין ומפותלין
שביתין ותלין
ולקיימים נדרונה לנדרי ואסרנה לאסרי ושבועתנה לשבות. שוויקין, שוויתין, בטלין ומבוטלין.
שוויקין, שוויתין, בטלין ומבוטלין.
לא שרירין ולא קיימין נדריינו לא נדרי וסרנה להסרי. שבועותונה לשבועות. ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם, כי לכל העם בשגגה.
ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם, כי לכל העם בשגגה.
ונסלח לכל עדת בני ישראל ולגר הגר בתוכם, כי לכל העם בשגגה. סלח נא לעוון העם הזה כגודל חסדך, וכאשר נשאת לעם הזה ממצרים ועד הנה, ושם נאמר ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך. ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך. ויאמר אדוני סלחתי כדבריך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Yanai,
After 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Sinai, pleading for forgiveness for his people after the event of the golden calf, it came time for Moshe to receive the second set of tablets, and he listened intently to the fine silence from which burst the wonder of repentance and God's love. This time it was different from the first time when Moshe received the tablets and then broke them. This time there was no public revelation visible to all. The primordial creatures did not tremble. The sound of the shofar was not heard in the camp, nor did thunder and lightning disturb the sleep of Israel's myriads. The mountain was enveloped in absolute silence and was shrouded in the twilight of a secret and wondrous dawn. All alone, without the company of a friend or disciple, Moshe climbed the cold and steep cliffs of the mountain. Even Joshua, who had never left his side, did not join him. This had God commanded: no one else shall come up with you, and no one else shall be seen anywhere on the mountain. No wondrous light illuminated his path. No torches burned. No pure mist crowned his head. The mountain was frozen in its desolation, emptiness, and loneliness. Moshe ascended the mountain, looked around, but could not find God, as if the heavens had not opened and God had not descended. He looked in the cleft of the rock and in the hidden side of the still stones, but there was no glimmer of light. God's presence and splendor were hidden in a misty fog. A dark cloud moved menacingly and stood between God and Moshe. Vayered Adonai be'anan, vayityatzeva Amo sham. God came down in a cloud and stood behind him. Moshe did not desist from seeking God. Alone, without a companion or a friend, shaken to the core of his being and pervaded by a great fear that perhaps God will not appear from the heavens, Moshe stood before the clear morning sky, the stars slowly disappearing as the light of day rose from the east, and he reached through the awesome and sublime silence toward God, who did not come toward him. This time, God wanted Moshe to wait for him, to seek him, to plead and implore in prayer. Finally, the time of grace arrived and God appeared and answered him. Moshe's ears perceived from the sprawling distance without boundaries, from within the dark fog, a still small voice announcing love and compassion, the good news of repentance. And from between the rocks, suddenly there broke out splendorous lights of multiple shades and colors, the lights of the 13 attributes of mercy. Adonai, Adonai, El Rahum v'Hanun, Erech Apayim v'Rav Chesed v'Emet, Notzer Chesed la'alafim, Noseh Avon v'Fesha, Chata'a v'Nakeh. Adonai, Adonai, God, merciful and compassionate, patient, abounding in love and faithfulness, assuring love for thousands of generations, forgiving iniquity, transgression, and sin, and granting pardon. This is how Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik, the great 20th century Talmudic scholar, thinker, and leader of modern Orthodoxy, imagined Moshe's second standing on top of Mount Sinai. Our tradition teaches that Yom Kippur was established on that day when Moshe reached the top of the mountain to receive the second set of tablets, and when God revealed to him the 13 attributes of God and the promise that through their recitation we would always be able to access God's forgiveness. Rabbi Soloveitchik maintains that this revelation came to Moshe at the price of great spiritual suffering, the feeling of the profound aloneness of one whose life is paralyzed and hanging by a thread, and the fear of a creature when it is disconnected from its creator for just a moment. Every Yom Kippur, we journey with Moshe, each to the top of our own mountain, feeling profoundly disconnected and seeking, pleading, waiting for God's presence and for God's forgiving grace. In spite of being together in community this evening, inside our soul, each one of us can feel the loneliness and the inner silence, as well as the dread as we confront the reality that our life really hangs by a thread. We carry the burden of our own failure, our sin, and our guilt. We plead for forgiveness. We beg for God's help to rescue our lives from meaninglessness and futility. In order to live our lives and accomplish what we need to accomplish, we cannot be constantly exposed to these deep layers of our being. We shield ourselves from these intense feelings. Otherwise, how could we function? But on Yom Kippur, we release, we open up, we look honestly into our soul, and we allow ourselves to feel. Why is there so much loneliness, so much despair, so much struggle at the center of our being? In his extraordinary essay, The Lonely Man of Faith, published in 1965, Rabbi Soloveitchik describes a dialectic, an essential contradiction and tension that sits at the core of every person. It's a brilliant, insightful reading of the story of creation in the book of Genesis, where there are two different and contradictory accounts of the creation of the human being. The first account in Genesis 1 reads, "So God created the human, Adam, in God's image. In the image of God, God created him. Male and female, God created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and multiply, umilu et haaretz vekibshua, and fill the earth and conquer it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, the fowl of the heavens, and the beasts, and all over the earth." The second account in Genesis 2 is very different. "And Adonai, God, formed the human of dust from the soil, and blew into his nostrils the breath of life. And the human became a living being. And Adonai, God, planted a garden in Eden. And Adonai, God, took the human and set him in the Garden of Eden, le'ovda u'leshomra." There are different translations of le'ovda u'leshomra, to till and to tend it, to till it and to watch it, to work it and to tend it. Different combinations, le'ovda u'leshomra. I love Rabbi Soloveitchik's translation because la'avod is not just to work but to serve. So in this second account, he says that the human was set in the Garden of Eden to serve it and to watch it. In the second account, human destiny is to serve and watch creation. Let's go back to the first account. The first Adam, created in God's image, is charged by God with creating, building, conquering, dominating, subduing. Umilu et haaretz v'kibshuha, fill the earth and conquer it. The first Adam, Soloveitchik says, is an entrepreneur, aggressive, bold, utilitarian, and victory-minded. This first Adam is scientific, technological, political, artistic. His motto is success, triumph over the cosmic forces, Soloveitchik tells us. He builds, plants, harvests, regulates rivers, heals the sick, participates in state affairs, is imaginative in dreaming, bold in planning, daring in undertaking, and is out to conquer the world. By contrast, the second Adam in Genesis 2, made of dust from the soil, is not interested in conquering and transforming the world. Rather, Soloveitchik explains, he responds to the cosmos by engaging with metaphysical questions. Why did the world come into being? Why is the human confronted by this stupendous and indifferent order of things and events? What is the purpose of all this? What does the great challenge reaching me from beyond the fringes of the universe as well as from the depths of my tormented soul mean? The second Adam wants to encounter the universe in all its colorfulness, splendor, and grandeur, and studies it with a naivete, awe, and admiration of the child who seeks the unusual and wonderful in every ordinary thing and event. The second Adam is not interested in dominating the world, but in serving it and keeping it, watching it. The second Adam is humble, introspective, reflective, and aware of the deep mystery of existence, aware of his temporality in the face of eternity. The second Adam was created alone, not male and female together as the first Adam. And he's very much aware of his uniqueness, his loneliness, and his insecurity. In order to achieve his goal of conquering and subduing the world, the first Adam seeks partnerships in a collaborative community of interests. The second Adam, once Eve is created, seeks solidarity in an existential, covenantal community of intimate relationships and longs for God. First Adam and second Adam are polar opposites, but they are not separate individuals, each describing a different human typology. First Adam and second Adam both live in all of us. Together they constitute our dual nature, assigned to us by God. We exist in constant and inescapable oscillation between both parts of our nature. Such is our destiny. Who does not feel the tension at the core of his or her being? One side pulls us to the outside to be expansive and to transform the world. The other side pulls us to the inside to go deep, to seek intimacy, to be of service, and to transform ourselves. The first Adam and the second Adam live in permanent confrontation within us. They pull us in two opposite directions. We are torn by the conflict, and we can't figure out how to reconcile between them. I believe that's why we don't feel at home within ourselves. That's why the alienation, that's why we don't feel peace in our heart, and why we feel lonely and frustrated. The first Adam reproaches us. You haven't accomplished enough. You haven't been ambitious enough, assertive enough, bold enough, productive enough, successful enough. There's so much to do in the world, so many opportunities to expand, so many problems to solve. There's no time to be self-absorbed, to be profound, to contemplate the world in awe, and to ponder the meaning of existence. Get up, go and do. So we feel we have fallen short of our potential. We have squandered the chances that we were given. We have not done enough to conquer, not enough to master the world and to fix it. Then comes the second Adam, sits us down and looks us in the eye. Do you know who you are? Do you really think that you are what you do, what you produce, or what you have? Why don't you retreat from trying to master the world and work on mastering yourself? Are you capable of the vulnerability that it is required for real encounters with other human beings? When you may share your loneliness and bare your soul? So we feel we have fallen short here too. We have wasted our lives by living on the outside, by staying on the surface. We have missed out on that which is most authentic and deep in life. We haven't invested in cultivating our souls, our intellects, in seeking to understand why we are here, the meaning of all this, the meaning of our actions. We haven't invested in real relationships. We haven't served. Confronted by the first Adam and then by the second Adam, we sense how flawed we are. We feel our failure, our shortcomings. The conflict within us between the two aspects of our nature leaves us feeling confused and divided and profoundly unwhole. We climb again on this Yom Kippur, each of us to the top of his or her Mount Sinai, alone, to the encounter with God. Our first Adam and our second Adam struggle inside of us, each attempting to overpower and eliminate the other. We recognize they are both a legitimate and necessary part of us. Deep inside we know that if they'll be able to reconcile, we will feel more whole. Our vision will become clearer. We will achieve a measure of inner peace. We climb on this Yom Kippur 5782, holding the full potential of this sabbatical year of Shemitah, the call to release control and to exercise restraint, the call to make space for the land and for each other, to be more thoughtful and to unlock greater kindness and compassion. Perhaps we can make a commitment as we begin this Shemitah year 5782 to bring the first Adam and the second Adam closer to each other, to hear and affirm each other, to reconcile and to become intertwined within us. If they can live in greater harmony inside us, we will know that there is a chance we may live together in greater harmony with each other, with those whom we have hurt, with those with whom we disagree, with those with whom we have fought. Now, let us continue to climb. Yom Kippur has just begun, but the 25 hours will pass quickly, and we have no time to waste. May we honestly pray throughout this holiest of days and plead with the God of reconciliation and oneness. Oh God, please reveal to us your attributes of love and kindness, compassion and forgiveness. Help us find the image of your attributes within us, in each other, and around us in the world, so that we may have a new beginning, in a year of wholeness and blessing. Amen. I'm going to sing now the beautiful Piyut, Lecha Eli Teshukati of Rabbi Avraham Ibn Ezra, written in Spain in the 12th century. It's in the booklet on page 3.
Lecha
סליחה, הנני דרישתי, אנא שיחה את דמעי לך, מחטאי בדמעתי. To rise for Baruch on page 207. Before the Shema, beginning on page 207.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
המעריב ערבים, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני,
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו,
אוהב עמו ישראל.
וכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשובך ובאומך ושרת מאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך ויהם שמוע תשמע. Continue with Malchuto v'ratzon, the middle of page 210.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל לך נו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע הים לפני משה זה אלינו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד ונאמר יפד אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני
ברוך הוא ברוך שמו
גאל ישראל
Pray for peace on page 211. השכיבנו ממעלנו שלום תקריר בצד טובה מלפניך לא שיהיה למען שלא רגל בעדינו כי אל שומרנו מצלינו אתה כן
ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני.
ברוך שמו הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל
ועל ירושלים ועל כל יושבי תבל.
Please rise on page 212, כי ביום הזה
כי ביום הזה יכפר עליכם לטהר אתכם מכל חטאותיכם לפני אדוני תתארו, לפני אדוני תתארו. ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמה דברה קראותה וימליך מלכותה בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יש רבה מברך לעלם ולעלם וישתבח ויתפעל ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לאלה לאלה מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו
amen. We now turn to some moments of quiet prayer, personal quiet prayer, the words of the Amidah. In the Mahzor on pages 213 through page 221, if you're here, wherever you are, we invite you to orient yourself towards the east, towards Yerushalayim.
We rise now as the ark is opened for Ya'aleh, page 223.
עלינו ינום ערב, ויבוא סליחתנו מבוקר, ויראה נקתנו עד ערב, ויראה נקתנו עד ערב.
יעלה מנוסנו מערב, ויבוא למענו מבוקר, ויראה כיפורנו עד ערב, ויראה כיפורנו עד ערב.
זיכרוננו מערב, ויבוא ביעודנו מבוקר, ויראה הדרתנו עד ערב, ויראה הדרתנו עד ערב.
מערב, ויבוא גילנו מבוקר, ויראה בקשתנו עד ערב, ויראה בקשתנו עד ערב. יעלן כתנו
Be seated. We turn now to the beautiful Piyut Kine Kachomer, which is on page 227, which last year we began singing the melody of, and this year we're going to sing the Piyut in total, which is a beautiful notion based on a verse in Yirmiyahu about we being the clay in the hands of God as the potter, and all these different metaphors for how God shapes us and holds us, and also that God remembers that God is our creator in order to ultimately grant us forgiveness. So I invite you to join along with the melody and the words on page 227, and also have a chance to read the translation, which is incredibly moving. Page 227.
ביד היוצר, ברצותו מרחיב וברצותו מקצר, כן אנחנו בידך חסד נוצר לברית אבל ואל תפר היצר.
כי הנה כוון ביד המסתר, ברצותו חס וברצותו מחטט, כן אנחנו בידך מחיה וממותן
לברית הבר ואל תפר היצר.
כי הנה כגרזן ביד החרש, ברצותו טיבע כלאור וברצותו פרש, כן אנחנו בידך תומך נברש, לברית הבר ואל תפר היצר.
כהגה ביד המלאך ברצותו יחז וברצותו שילח כן אנחנו בידך אל טוב וסלח לברית האמת ואל תפנה יצר
הנה כזה זכוכית ביד המזגג ברצותו הוגג וברצותו ממוגג כן אנחנו בידך מוכר זדון ושגג
לברית האמת ואל תפנה יצר
כי הנה כירייה ביד הרוקם ברצותו מיישר וברצותו מעקם כן אנחנו בידך אל כנו ונוקם
לברית האמת ואל תפנה יצר כי הנה ככסף ביד הצורף ברצותו משגשג וברצותו מצרף כן אנחנו בידך ממציא ולמזור טרף לברית האמת ואל תפנה יצר
We now rise for the 13 attributes that Rolly spoke of that we were given in that moment on the mountain as the leitmotif, really the formula for coming to God, asking forgiveness, pleading for forgiveness. Page 232, please rise if you're able.
מלך יושב על כיסא רחמים, מתנהג בחסידות, אוכל עוונות עמו, מעביר ראשון ראשון, מרבה בחילה לחטאים וסליחה לפושעים, עושה צדקות עם קור בשר ורוח, וכרעתם תגמול. אל הורית לנו לומר 13, זכור לנו היום ברית 13, כמו שהודעת על יניו מקדם, כמו שכתוב, וירד אדוני בענן, ויתייצב עם מושב, ויקרא בשם אדוני, ויעבור אדוני על פניו, ויקרא.
אדוני, אדוני, אל רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נוצר חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון בפשע וחטאה ונקם.
אדוני, אדוני, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה. אדוני, אדוני, רחום וחנון, ערך אפיים ורב חסד ואמת, נושא חסד לאלפים, נושא עוון ופשע וחטא ונקה.
You may be seated. We turn now to Adonis Lichot, page 5 in the booklets.
אדונס ליחות בוחן לבבות גולה עמוקות דובר צדקות.
חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו, חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו. הדור בנפלאות ועתיק בנחמות, זוכר ברית אבות, חוקר כהיות. חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו, חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו.
טוב ומיטיב לבריות, יודע כל נסתרות, קודש עוונות, לובש צדקות.
חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו, חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו.
מלא זכיות נורא תהילות, סולח עוונות עונה בצרות.
חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו, חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו. פועל ישועות, סופר עתידות, קורא הדורות, רוחם על ערבות, שומע תפילות, תמיד דעות. חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו, חטאנו לפניך רחם עלינו. היי לה 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 לה
We rise as the ark is opened for Shema Kolenu, where we plead with God to be heard for the words, for the pleading, for the desire, for forgiveness, for our failures, for our wants to be seen and known, and for God to answer us. Page 233.
קולנו עלינו וקבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם
שמע קולנו אדוני אלוהינו חוס ורחם עלינו וקבל ברחמים וברצון את תפילתנו השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה חדש ימינו כקדם
תשליכנו מלפניך ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו
אל תשליכנו מלפניך ורוח קודשך אל תיקח ממנו
תשליכנו לעת זקנה כי יכלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו
אל תשליכנו לעת זקנה כי יכלות כוחנו אל תעזבנו
תרחק ממנו
אל תעזבנו אדוני אלוהינו אל תרחק ממנו
May be seated. We turn now to the piyut ki anu amecha, these beautiful metaphors between we as God's people and God, and finding different ways to be in relationship with God, different metaphors of how we think about God on this Yom Kippur, page 234.
כי אנו עמך ואתה אלוהינו אנו עבדיך ואתה אדוננו אנו נחלתך ואתה כהננו אנו כרמך ואתה נותרנו. אנו רעייתך ואתה דודנו. אנו עמך ואתה מלכנו.
A bit complicated with the masks. But next year, 5783, without masks, please God, we'll sing our hearts out.
I was going to say that I think, even a response is better than last year. We'll take masks over nothing. And for those of you at home, there's still a back and forth. That dynamism still exists. So wherever we are, outside, inside, at home, with family or friends, praying, davening, we're in it together with you, back and forth, masked or not masked at home, and we're finding our way together. We rise for the vidui, the short vidui, Ashamnu, page 235.
דיברנו דופי, הבינו והרשענו, זדנו, חמסנו, תפרנו שקר. עין עין עין
We turn now to page 237 for the longer confession. Just, I think we say this often on these days, that confession requires speaking it out. It's not a confession if it stays inside. And so we invite you to articulate the words. If you don't understand the Hebrew, we invite you to chant in English. in a way that it feels that you own the words, that we collectively are holding the sins of the kahal, of the community, of all of us. We'll join together, we'll daven on our own, page 237, and then join together for Va'al Kulam.
אחרי שחטאנו לפניך באונס ורצון, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך במוצלב, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בגזער, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בביטוי שפתיים, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי עריות, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בגילוי בסתר, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בדעת ובמרמה, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בדברי, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בנדריה, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בכל הלב, אחרי שחטאנו במידת זנות, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בפה, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול הורים ומורים, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בזלזול ובשגגה, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בחוזקיה, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בחילול השם, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בתקומת שפתיים, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בחיפה, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך ביצר הרע, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך ביודעים ובלא יודעים.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות סלח לנו מקל לנו כפר לנו.
We have sinned against you, Virgin Mary, the saints, and we have sinned against you by taking bribes. We have sinned against you by clever cynicism, and we have sinned against you by speaking ill of others. We have sinned against you by the way we do business, and we have sinned against you in your eating and drinking. We have sinned against you in greed, press interest, and we have sinned against you through arrogance. We have sinned against you in everyday manifestation, and we have sinned against you through principle. Sinned against you through condescension, we have sinned against you through stubbornness.
כולם אלוה סליחות סלח לנו נחם לנו כפר לנו.
אחרי שחטאנו לפניך בפני גדול, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך שפלילות, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך יצירת פאר, אחרי שחטאנו עין, אחרי שחטאנו לפניך קדש ראש, אחרי שחטאנו
כולם אלוה סליחות סלח לנו מקל לנו
We turn now to the booklets for the additional achetz. They can be found on the beginning of them for this evening for Kol Nidre of page 10. We have sinned against you when we sin against ourselves and each other. For our failures of truth, O God, we ask for forgiveness. For projecting emotions we do not feel. For using the sins of others to excuse our own. For denying our responsibility for our own misfortunes. For refusing to admit our share in the troubles of others. For condemning in our children the faults we tolerate in ourselves. For condemning in our parents the faults we tolerate in ourselves. For passing judgment without knowledge of the facts. For remembering the price of things but forgetting their value. For teaching our children everything but the meaning of life. For loving our ego is better than the truth. For not respecting God's image in every human being. For running to do violence yet crawling to make peace.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות סלח לנו מקל לנו כפר לנו.
The ark is opened for Avinu Malkeinu, page 243, or the alternative on page 244, your own metaphors to find the plea in your own voice. Avinu Malkeinu,
אבינו מלכנו, חטאנו לפניך. אבינו מלכנו, אין לנו מלך אלא אתה. אבינו מלכנו, עשה עמנו למען שמך. אבינו מלכנו, חדש לנו שנה טובה. אבינו מלכנו, אל תמנע עלינו כל גזרות קשות.
אבינו מלכנו אשר עשת אויבינו, אבינו מלכנו לכל צלום מסתיל מעלינו, אבינו מלכנו על ידי ולכן ושמנו מכשיל וערבות מזבלי בליתך, אבינו מלכנו שלנו מחלך עוד עוונותינו, אבינו מלכנו מחבר פשענו וחטאותינו נגד אלינו, אבינו מלכנו שובה שלמה לפניך, אבינו מלכנו שלך ורוע שלמה לכל לעמך, אבינו מלכנו זוכר וזיכרון טוב לפניך, אבינו מלכנו קודש בספר חיים טובים, אבינו מלכנו קודשנו בספר גאולה וישועה, אבינו מלכנו קודשנו בספר פרנסה וכלכלה, אבינו מלכנו קודשנו בספר זכויות, אבינו מלכנו קודשנו בספר זכר רבים ואילן, מלכנו אסמך וישועה בקרוב, אבינו מלכנו עליהם קרן ישראל עמך, אבינו מלכנו עליהם קרן נשכיך, אבינו מלכנו שמע קולנו חוז ורחם עלינו, אבינו מלכנו קבל ורחם רצון את תפילתנו, אבינו מלכנו אל תשתקם בפניך, אבינו מלכנו זכור כעפרנו, אבינו מלכנו חמול עלינו אבינו מלכנו עשה למענו בגלל שם קודשך, אבינו מלכנו עשה למען תלוכים עלינו, אבינו מלכנו עשה למען באי וישוב המים על קידוש, אבינו מלכנו עשה למען החילוק למעננו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, חוננו ועננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו. אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, אבינו מלכנו, חוננו ובננו, כי אין בנו מעשים. עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד, עשה עמנו צדקה וחסד והושיענו.
We turn now to Gadi Shalem, page 245.
יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה,
אמן.
ויעלמה דברה כאילו טבע מלך מלכותה וחי יכון ובמכון, ובחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יש מרבה מברך, לעלם ולעלם יתברך.
ברם ישתבח, מתפאר, מתרומם, מתנשא, ויתעלה, ויתעלה, ויתעלל, שמלכות שם בריחום. לילה, לילה מכל ברכתה, שירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה נמילן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן.
תתקבל סודומתו לכו ישראל קדם ומון ושמי לאמרו אמן.
יש למה רבה משמיה, וחיים עלינו על כל ישראל ואמרו אמן.
עושה שלום במרומיו,
ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל
ואמרו אמן.
Aleinu 246.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
להעביר ולכבוד שמך עיקר איתנו. ונאמר, והיה
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We turn now to Mourner's Kaddish on page 247 for those marking a yard site or those in mourning, page 247. Yitgadal v'kadash shemei Rabba v'ama divrach v'ruteh v'yamlich malchuteh v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'agala u'bizman kariv v'yamru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevarach le'olam u'lamei almaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitpa'ar, Yitromam, Yitnaseh, Yitzadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shemei Kudesha, Brechu, Le'ela, Le'ela, Mikol, Birchata, V'shirata, Tushvachata, V'nechamata, Damiran, V'ama, V'yamru, Amen. Yehei Shlama, Rabba, Min Shemaya, V'chayim, Aleinu, V'elko Yisrael, V'yamru, Amen. Oseh Shalom.
Amen.
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 You may be seated.
So we are here. We are here, we are outside, we are in hundreds, maybe even thousands of homes throughout the country and in other countries as well, together as one community. It's an incredible feeling that we can be in different spaces together and pray together on this holy day of Yom Kippur. And it took so much to make this happen. So many logistics, so many tests, so many vaccines, so many masks, so much live stream and technology, and so that everybody can be together virtually or in person as one community. And we are really an ever-expanding community, and we have something really powerful when we come together as one community from all these places, in all these ways, in multiple access to our services and to everything we do as a community. Throughout the pandemic, so it's now 18 or 19 months, BJ has been a source of emotional support, of comfort, of structure, of spiritual meaning, and of healing. Many people found us through the live stream. People who are not used to come here, who've never stepped foot in this place but are part of our community, have joined us during the pandemic, which demonstrates the importance of a spiritual institution like ours at a time of such distress and vulnerability. BJ has been something, or has provided something for people really to hold on. And we have been here as a consistent source of human connection as we follow the cycle of the year and our Jewish calendar. Day after day, week after week, month after month. This special relationship we have together with each other that has allowed us to respond quickly to each other's needs, to help every one of us feel comfortable to reach out for whatever support we have needed, to be here for each other in difficult times and in good times of celebration.
What then is the importance of an institution, of a community like ours? And we think about it in a couple of ways. One is just to show up as we are, vulnerable and honest, and just be able to be in a home, whether that's virtually or in this space, and just come as we are and be able to feel like we can be real at a time when it's been hard to feel seen and to feel known And that's at the core of what this place is about, is to feel seen and known and not pretend. And then at the same time, as a community, we're living on thousands of years of a tradition that teaches us how to be responsive and how to wake up and how to act in the midst of challenge and to honor the moment and seize it. Ever resilient and nimble and innovative is part of the core of the DNA here at BJ. We know how to adapt. We are resilient as a community made up of many people, all of you, in different ways. Sometimes we feel more resilient than other times, but collectively, there is an incredible amount of resilience amongst this place. And we think about that just even marking the 20th anniversary of September 11th, how this community was so resilient at this time. Or if we look up at the ceiling, I wasn't here at the time that it fell, how people came together and shored up all their efforts to build and hold and find a way forward. We know how to deal with the unexpected. We didn't choose to be here 19 months later, and yet we were made for this moment. Thanks to you and some exceptionally generous supporters who stretched their own giving limits, we were able to transform our 196-year-old institution and offer a live stream experience that spiritually connects all of us to each other. We have done so without missing a Shabbat or a holiday in all of 5781. In a year of heroic efforts by essential workers, some of whom are sitting right here today, who went to work so many of us could stay home in safety, our team here, and it's an incredible team, was truly heroic to make sure that you could participate, that we could all participate and join our live stream for services. Our virtue shul, as we came to call it, is not free to us. This is the clearest example of how we as a congregation can be responsive if we have the resources. To live what's in our DNA, we need resources. To give you a sense of size and scope, our 5781 services last year for Yamim Noraʻim received 20,000 views from 80 countries. 20,000 views from 80 countries. Our Virtue Shul, created on the fly, was an astonishing success. Our Kahal, our community, was now virtual and in person. Our community spread to Virginia and Arkansas, Washington, Texas, Vermont, Seattle, right? Oregon. Christy, I've only seen her in a Zoom box for a year and a half, and she flew in, I guess, for Yom Kippur. Across the country. Amazing. Welcome. In addition to 80 countries around the world, anyone fly in from over an ocean? Next year. And you didn't just watch. This is not a community to watch. This is a community to participate, to sing, to daven. This innovation is nothing new for BJ. We are in a constant state of reinventing. Some would call it a constant state of agitation. Depends how you look at it. Throughout history, the Jewish people are continually faced with trauma and challenge, learning from it and oftentimes reinventing the tradition to get to a better future.
Last year at this time, the sanctuary was empty. There were a few people in the balcony just to guarantee a minyan. We had 3 big screens here and cameras, and the musicians were in the chapel, and Felicia, Ari, and I were here. The room was sad and silent because the people in the balcony who were wearing masks were not allowed to sing. It was a difficult, challenging Yamim Noraʻim last year, and we just went through it and we did it, and many people participated from afar. And it's been 12 months since we stood before you to ask for your support. 12 months have passed. It was an unprecedented, challenging, unimaginable year with ups and downs. And then, in the winter, the miracle of the vaccine happened. And by late winter, early spring, vaccines became available to all of us. And all of us who are here chose to get vaccinated, thank God. And we were hopeful in the spring and in the beginning of the summer that we were going back to normal. And on a dime, the Delta variant forced us to reconsider our summer plans for some of us and our fall plans. And we are once again, of course, in a much better place, and yet facing some uncertainty. The protocols changed all the time. We had planned to be just at Lincoln Center and here and have family services and all sorts of things, and our plans changed from week to week. The protocols changed. And I have to say, we have an amazing task force, a COVID task force that has advised us in terms of how to respond to the pandemic, made of a number of wonderful board members and 2 health experts, Dr. David Stern and Jennifer Hirsch, who have really advised us, and I think we owe them all a great debt of gratitude for all their work and their expertise which they shared with us. So we continue to try to figure it out. And so here we are, and there are people outside, and there are people on live stream, and the families gathering outside on 86. I don't know if it's raining, but I hope they had a wonderful Kol Nidre outdoors. And we have never been tested as we have been tested this year, in all meanings of the word.
No kidding.
And we continue to be tested.
Every week.
I wonder what it says in Bereshit, and God tested Abraham. Did he go for a PCR? But we continue.
He only had 10 trials. How many times have you been tested?
So we continue to be tested, and we're going to likely be tested in all ways, more and more over the coming months. So this has been a year of transformation. We have transformed the way we pray. We have transformed the way we learn, the way we connect with each other, the ways we support each other. We have supported each other through physical illness. We have mourned and sat Shiva. Many people here sat Shiva on Zoom. We'd never imagined that this would be the case. We had to figure out how to do things in a completely different ways. We have supported each other during times of incredible loneliness and sadness, and through difficult financial times for many. And we have much more to do. It has been a time also of creativity, of innovation, of flexibility, of nimbleness. And it has been a time of great love. And because of your support last year, you and those outside and those who are watching us at home, because of this support, we could sustain ourselves, our community, and do our work this year as a spiritual community. We had the resources to meet this moment. Thanks to you, we had the vigor to meet the demands, many demands, challenging, placed on our community.
And we have lived by our shared values: spirituality, community, inclusivity, activism, and growth. For values to have real meaning, they must be lived. And this is a place, this is a group of people, community, that do that. They can't merely be nice sayings on a wall or a website. To be meaningful values, they must translate into action. And this remarkable community lives its values every day in ways large and small. And I just want to share, we just want to share a handful, maybe a little bit more than a handful, of ways that the community has acted this year and risen together. I think many of you know about the unstoppable Siggy Wilzig's vaccination project at BJ, securing 1,200 vaccination appointments at a time where they were impossible to find. Raise your hand if you were someone who made those appointments. Raise your hand also if you were someone who received an appointment. Awesome. There were many people who said that they couldn't get an appointment and then they called BJ, and BJ knows how to get appointments. We don't always know how to get a LabQ truck on time in front of our building, but we know how to get vaccine appointments. Every night, in the middle of the night, people woke up to make appointments, not just for BJ members, but for doormen in our buildings, for grandparents, and strangers in need, our neighbors. We also reinvented the ways we did spirituality. We used to have multiple services. And how are we going to do that when we didn't have multiple live streams happening at the same time? So we created meditation, Hachana LeShabbat on Friday afternoons before the Tefillah with Boi Kala and meditation, and a tish on the street and something for families. We also reinvented how we did justice work and learning. We used to have Occupy the Roof, a film series, and this year we had Occupy the Zoom. We had Get Out the Vote campaigns when no one was getting out. We made calls and phone calls and postcards. It's hard to believe it's not even been a year since we participated in all the Get Out the Vote stuff for the election. It feels like an eternity. And we've also done our work around diversity, equity, and inclusion, and keep doing that work, and also our work in supporting Black Lives Matter. We have, in this flattened world of access, brought scholars and partners and teachers from all over the world. We had our Torah from Israel series so that we could learn with our partners from Israel, which would normally be a very big expense to fly them over or in for a week. Countless learning opportunities every day of the week. And for some of you who saw in the spring, the families, actually typically in the fall, families used to typically go on a Reach for Shabbat retreat to be together and have a beautiful experience of Shabbat, which was obviously not possible. So our Family Life and Learning team created a Stay Home for Shabbat retreat and had a beautiful outside experience throughout the course of the weekend, closing 88th Street, bringing over 100 people davening Kabbalat Shabbat on the street so kids and families could be together, which many of them hadn't been all year. This is the place. It's amazing. And finally, I just wanted to share, and then I think Ari and Rolly will, we had an Intro to Judaism class. We always have an Intro to Judaism class. Some of the students are sitting here, which on a given year normally has between 8 and 15 students. This year had 30 students from all over the country, many of whom were seeking conversion, some of whom were not, of all ages, of all colors, of all gender orientations. This class was an expression, one of the commitments we've made over the last couple of years around diversity and around multi-heritage families. And just to say how touching it is to see the individual pathways. I sat on a handful of the Batei Din for conversion of some of these students, and how moving it is to know the teacher of the class was our former fellow Deborah Sachs-Mintz, who will be davening Shacharit tomorrow morning. Just what it means for someone to find their way here, not only into community, but to Judaism. And we are a pathway to that. And what a privilege and honor it is to shepherd folks through that experience and to see what it means. And Ari wanted to share about the Minyan.
Yeah, before the Minyan, I want to say one thing about you were talking about resilience, and we had, in this last year, we had over 20 kids who actually had the bar mitzvah and bat mitzvah, and some of them had actually rescheduled when they learned maybe in April of 2020, they figured out, okay, we'll push it 5 months, 6 months, a year. And the reality eventually was that they actually had to put the work for something that was going to be still very different to what they imagined many years ago. And they actually had the resilience, and they actually were able to work over Zoom. And it was beautiful to see. Again, these are kids who also were accustomed to do it for school, but for us to see that. And also the same thing for the kids put the play that was an amazing play. Again, it's not part of, most of us, we do not see that part of the community, but these kids were so engaged by the flood department, by
Emma.
By Emma, who is the director of this theater crew that was actually meeting literally the whole play was over Zoom, which was beautiful. And just one little tidbit was, I was privileged to be at the rehearsal right now. Again, they already finished the Nidre service for kids, for the family, and I was there at the rehearsal. And again, I don't know if it was actually end up being done in Zoom or not. I hope that it was actually done on the steps of the church. But the energy that these kids have, they are so eager to give, and they are like what we have created in a way lives through them in a beautiful, beautiful way. And lastly, I want to say, for me, for all of us, one of the experiences that was actually the most touching was probably the morning minyan. Actually, the minyanim all over every single day, 3 minyanims a day, to which so many of you, and again, people who are watching, the idea that so many people have created their own sanctuary at home. Forget about knowing where East is. They actually, they feel, you feel, and this is your place to daven, which is, again, some of you might actually feel comfortable here as well as when you feel comfortable at home. And so many people actually prefer to actually be at home. I heard an anecdote of whenever we sing the melody that they don't want to hear, they turn off and they sing the melody that they want to hear.
Don't get any ideas.
No, I didn't.
Not so bad to daven from home when it's snowing or it's raining.
No.
I just want to share also a brief anecdote. When I came back from vacation in August, I came back to Shabbat after a few weeks, and we finished the service. There were several people who were waiting to say Shabbat Shalom. So this woman comes and introduces herself, and she says, I'm a member from North Virginia. I've been a member for the last year. I found you on the internet. I've been following every single week. I've been coming to services. I had a business meeting in New York City, and I decided to stay so I could come here on Shabbat and see the place that I have been praying at and with for all these months. It was so moving. Following this woman, there was a couple, 2 women from Arkansas. You have been our lifeline. We have watched every single service every week. We came to programs. We came to lectures. We could not have made it spiritually if it were not for BJ. And we are here because Arkansas has become very dangerous. It was in August. With the rate of people who are not vaccinated, we decided to come to a safe place. We're going to spend a few months in Brooklyn, but we wanted to come here. We wanted to come
Why
here.
Brooklyn?
It is a lot safer than Arkansas, for sure. So we wanted to come here, and they were almost in tears with gratitude for what all of us, for what this community has provided. So as you can see from all these examples, BJ is here to respond, to welcome, to comfort, to encourage, to connect, to teach, to listen, to help everyone find their spiritual path, to provide an environment where we can spiritually grow. The spirit of this community is strong and it's overflowing, and our resilience knows no bounds. And I'm talking to you, to the people outside, to the people on live stream, all of us. But without the funds generated from our Kol Nidre appeal, we cannot fulfill our goals. 1/3 of our operating funds come from this appeal. And these funds help us to keep the streaming on. There are a number of people now working with the streaming behind us in the community house. We had to buy all the equipment. We had to replace the boiler in this building, which is 103 years old. We had to make replacements and repairs to our sacred spaces in the community house. And we had to provide for extra security after Pittsburgh, when we realized that in this country, just as it happens in other parts of the world, synagogues can be attacked also by people full of hatred and anti-Semitism. So we had to up our security in this. Every one of these things costs money. So this appeal helps also to pay for our incredible musicians. And so we need to keep giving and giving so that we can be ready for another year with all the uncertainties and the eventualities, as we were ready 2 years ago, and we also were ready last year. This has been a difficult year for all of us. For some of our community, some people in our community, it has been a tragic year of loss, of illness. Some people have lost a job. And so we ask that everybody do your part. All of us do our part so we can continue to do what we do. To remain affordable and to remain active. And this year we say it every year, we'd like 100% participation. And maybe when they will get there, maybe this will be the year that everybody, this is a year of Shemitah, a year of release, a year of generosity. And maybe this year we can get to close to 100% of participation. Some people don't know that Ari, Felicia, and I and our families are members and participate also in the Kol Nidre appeal. This has been happening for years. We don't just work here. This is our community. This is our spiritual home. We care for it, we love it, and we support it as well. And so we ask you, everyone, you on the live stream, to do the same.
So if you gave last year, which almost 70% of our community gave last year, but that's a 30% differential for those of us who are excellent at math. If you were part of that 70%, thank you. Thank you. You made this year possible. Those on our email list will receive an email Friday morning. Please click as soon as you receive the email, if possible, and make a donation. These funds become immediately available for our vital work, and it eliminates the need and cost of follow-up. The more time you wait, the more we make phone calls and send emails and bother you. So save us the time and save yourself the frustration.
And we will find you, don't worry.
That's right. We're very determined. This is a moment where those who can should step up and not step back. If you did not give last year, we invite you to begin a new habit, a donation to the Kol Nidre appeal. If you can give $36 or $360, we've had kids give of the amount of the year, $57.82. Anything that says, I'm in. I want to be a part of this. If you can make a $3,600 gift or a $36,000 gift, which some people can and can easily, and some people do in our community, and we're forever grateful for the incredible generosity of anyone who gives a significant funds or a percentage of what they can give, which for some is $5 and for some is $100,000. Last year, so we're going to thank you. If you can give $1, it helps us count your participation. Visit www.bj.org/KN to make a gift. And if you are one of our amazing BJ friends joining us from around the world and around the corner, we thank you for your support. Last year, your generosity made a meaningful impact on our fundraising. $200,000 came from non-members. So for those who are on the live stream, if you didn't hear that, that was a lot of clapping in the community, which is just a sense of if you're touched by this place, give. You don't have to be a member yet, although anyone can be a member. We are so glad anyone has found BJ and are grateful for your support. Please do not rely on others to achieve our goals. We need you. And the person to your left and the person to your right, or the person who clicked to join the live stream before you, and the person who clicked after you. Some way, by being here, being present, this community has found a place in your heart, just as it is a part of Ari, Roli, Becca, and my hearts. It's changed our life, and we think it can change so many lives, yours and many more. So we leave you with this question, not only about what can you give, but how has your life changed because of this holy community. Gamar Hatima Tova to everyone. Now I just have to find my announcements page. There's a lot of stuff going on. We want to honor and thank the ushers and greeters for today: Susan Lieberman, Miriam Herscher, Joan Jankel, Diane Goldkoff, Ryan Brenner, Mandy Braun, Scott Wiener, Steve Maury Greenberg, Shira Nadich-Levin, Karen Adler, Paula Weiss, Ricky Lieberman, Andrea Newman, and Eileen Rosenthal. We also want to honor our head ushers for Rosh Hashanah, which we didn't get a chance to do, Henry Weinberger and Judith Trachtenberg, and our team of Gabayim will get honored tomorrow with an Aliyah. We want to ask those who are in the sanctuary to please leave your machzorim, your machzor supplement booklets and handouts on your seat. Yom Kippur morning services begin at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. For those who have registered in person, we invite you to do the same, which is come early and on time. We always say this, which is it's really a pilgrimage to that mountain, and it matters for us to do that together. So we invite you to be on time, and there will be some breaks during the course of the tefillah. Particularly, Yizkor will be at 11:45, and Mustaf will start at 12:45, and the Seder Avodah will begin at 2:30. Whether Mincha will be at 5 o'clock. For those joining us in person, whether inside the sanctuary or in the outdoor prayer space on 88th Street, please continue to arrive early to ensure a smooth check-in process for all. Kol Nidre donations can be made after Yom Kippur. Again, 100% participation. Join all of us standing here and making your gift. There is also a beautiful tradition to begin preparing for Sukkot right after Yom Kippur, and so we invite you to embrace this mitzvah of lulav and etrog. Lulav and etrog sets are imported from Israel and include branches of myrtle and willows and can be purchased at Westside Judaica or flowers by special arrangement. So I think we'll conclude with Adir V'Naor. And just before, after Adir V'Naor, we'll say the bracha sofit. It's typical that we greet people on these most awesome nights of the year. This will not be a year where we'll be obviously at the door, but we're extending a Gamar Chatima Tova to everyone, and pray that this will be a deeply meaningful Yom Kippur, and we seize the opportunity to be together in all the ways we can to find the pathway forward on that mountain. Adir V'Naor, page 7 and 8.
Adir V'Naor, boredok v'cheled mi'el kamocha,
bone amukot, do ber tzedakot,
mi'el kamocha.
Mi'el kamocha.
כמוך מלך מלכים נורא ונשגב
מי אין כמוך סומך נופלים עוני עשוקים
מי אין כמוך מי אין כמוך קרוב לקוריו רחום וחנון
מי אין כמוך שוכן שחקים תומך תמימים מי אין כמוך
O God, source of life. Adon haslichot, O God of forgiveness. Hine kachomer beyad hayotzer. As the clay in the hands of the potter, we are in your hands, O God. Help shape us to be the human beings we are called to be. Give us strength to confront our failings, courage to believe we can change, and commitment to stay the course. On this night of Kol Nidre and this year of Shemitah, may we release control of all we hold on to so tightly. Strip ourselves of all pretension and assumptions about the way things have to be. May we have the spaciousness to choose again. May you grant us to see your image in all people, releasing us from hatred and the blemishes on our souls, and build a Jewish community, a country, a world based on love, dignity, and justice. Ya'aleh koleinu me'erev, may our voices ascend this evening with honesty and humility, and with our tears. Times are hard for so many of us. We feel alone and despair, exhausted and heartbroken. Help us to come in the morning with the ability to pray with all our soul, listen to your call, feel your healing and your comfort, and may our hope rise up in the evening. Adonai, Adonai el Rachum v'Chanun, O God, merciful, gracious, slow to anger, abundant in kindness and truth. Help us to mirror your attributes, to walk in the world with more love and patience, to overflow with generosity, and to speak the truth. You are a God of forgiveness. Help us to be human beings that can forgive. Haporei Sukkot Shalom, O God, who spreads a shelter of peace. May we come to know a time soon when only your peace will spread, and not illness or fear. May you heal all those in need of healing, and may families and friends and communities be able to gather in fullness, arm in arm. And may the ways we have been able to connect with one another and with you, O God, sustain us. Zochreinu l'chaim, O God, remember us on this day. Remember that for all our failings and all the ways we will beat our chests, we also have merits and goodness and dreams. Help us to carry forth the legacy of those we have loved, but who are no longer by our side. Let their souls give us light, even when we feel We are in darkness. Grant comfort to those who are in mourning. V'kotvenu b'sefer chaim. On this day, confronted with our mortality and fragility, help us to understand the preciousness of our life and the length of our days. Inspire us to choose life and inscribe us in the book of life once again. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Gemar Chatima Tova.